All right. Can you guys hear me then still?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're initially looking at the sign up page. One of the fields that we did add in here was the promo code, and that will tie into in the admin CMS. We'd like to create the ability for almost like a distribution channel. So we would create the channel partner and whether they are a multi-tier or single tier. And the only difference between the multi-tier and the single tier is we would create one promo code and it would create a flat discount for everyone. So it doesn't matter how many subscribers that they use for this promo code, it's always going to be one flat. However, if they have a multi-tier, then they can set up the starting of the zero, and if they once they reach 2,000 subscribers with that promo code, then they'll get a 98% discount, whatever discount that we want to do, and then we can add additional tiers to say, all right, so from 2,001 users to 5,000 users, we'll give a 96% discount. So that's where the sign up promo code that's ties in. So we'll have to add that in.
Okay.
All right. I know Julian just started working on the household screen or the home screen, and initially we would like to see the households, the payments, and the calendars, and those will be nudges to say for the initial setup, like, hey, let's set up a household because you just started, or let's set up the payments and your category splits, and then let's sync up your calendar and create the custody schedule. So on the home screen, if you notice, we always put a placeholder for communications. That is going to be phase two. So we would like to see what the home screen would look like, knowing that we will have households, payments, and file drawer. If Laura, I don't think we have anything else anticipated for the home dashboard. Right.
You mean totally in the future?
Well, just for the release here.
No, you're right.
So, Search would have full to do whatever he wants with those three elements: household, payments, and file drawer, because those are the key ones.
Yes.
But we will have the upcoming schedule down here, and these do correlate to a custody schedule. So the grays are scheduled events, but you do not have custody of them, and then the colored ones are that you do have them, and these are the events for those days. We did make a change to households. The old households, we it was pretty generic with just the names. This one is kind of more containerized, and then we added the ability to just add a household, add a member to the household, add a child, and add a co-parent right from one screen. So Serge, if you'd like to take a stab at the how this would lay out, but I think it's kind of an easier setup. So when you create a household, that's going to be pretty much the same. You do select the country that you are going to be in, and then we did update the address labels to according to country. And I know Julian has already done those. So here's what a household will look like when it's filled. Obviously, I have my household, and then I added the members into them, and then I added co-parents. So here is one co-parent that has already accepted the invitation, because as a co-parent, let's say I have two kids with two different people. So one co-parent is for Ben, and the other co-parent is for Sarah and Tracy, who accepted the invitation to be the co-parent of Ben is shown right here that they shared. And then Martha, who's the co-parent of the other Sarah, I invited her to be the co-parent. However, she still has not accepted yet. So this is what the adding a co-parent and then the child screen should now look like. Add a member is pretty much the same. Add a child is the same. Actually, add a child, we did add in. The date of birth is now a requirement, and then the gender, which is optional. And I do think the database does reflect that. The latest database schema reflects that. Edit household is the same. Edit member, same. Edit child. Again, the only thing we added are the date of birth and then the gender. All right. So when we go to add a co-parent, the only thing we really need to collect is their email address, their first name, the last name, and then the relationship to the child and which child that they are co-parenting with. So in this case, I can select which child, I can select all of them, and then save as a co-parent, and that adds them to this screen right here, and then it ties them into the child. Here's so adding the co-parent, I can save them. However, I can also invite them to connect with that child with this information, and when I send the invite, it uses that email address that I've assigned to them. When the email is generated, they'll get an email inviting them, saying, "Hey, so and so has invited you to join my family plan," and then they could use the link below to start creating their account. So when they create their account, we'll have their email address tied to the invitation, and therefore we'll be able to say, here's the invitation that was sent, and do you want to, here's the kids that have been invited. So now clicking on them, they can add them to the household of the other co-parent. And then in the event that there are two accounts that have been created separately, co-parent 1 has kids, they've been using the system, and then the other co-parent set up her own system with the same kids but in their own setup, and let's say they now want to invite each other's households to merge or connect. We still need to see from Max's side how we're going to merge the data between two different households and the same kids, even though the kids have been set up separately. Roy, if you have any questions, let me know.
I'm just getting to understand the household and the co-parents and child.
Okay, so this is a pretty good indicator of it right here. So we have one household here, and we have one parent. Mm-hmm. So Tracy is the main parent, and she has her members of the household. And in the app, she's created two kids. Jack is a child 1, Bethany is a child 2. Mm-hmm. Okay. But then in household 2, parent number 2, they created their own household, and then they also added in child 1, which is Jack, and child 2, which is Beth. So each of these people were using the app independently of each other. But when they start to invite each other to join the household, so that way they can track each child together instead of separately, we need the ability to merge this data, because payments will be made, scheduling will be made, custody swaps custody swaps will be made, and we need to make sure that because they were acting independently, now they need to be synced all together. So we need a merge or reconciliation process.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there are three scenarios. One is you invite the other parent and the other parent doesn't have an account or no data. So that's ideal because now they can start from fresh, and then we can use Tracy's data to replicate over to Dave's data. Then there's you invite an account. They've already created the account, but maybe they haven't set up the custody schedule or anything like that. So therefore, again, that's an ideal situation. The issue comes in is when you have two parents who have already created their own accounts, who've already set up their each households, who've already put in each child's information on each of their apps, and now we're trying to connect them to sync their kids' data together. So that's the only issue that would come up.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I see. So, yeah.
Okay. So in this case, Tracy named her child to Bethany. Household 2, Dave. Her child was named Beth. So if we're gonna merge this, how do we know which name is going to be used? Beth or Bethany? So does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. So if the names and the birthday or gender matches, then I merge the data, right?
You merge the data, but then what are we going to use? Because in the system, we only have the child object is shared. So we'd have to take either Bethany or Beth. So as parents, how do we know which one we're going to use? We're either going to have Dave accept that, all right, this child is going to be named Bethany, or Tracy will say, all right, well, let's use Beth. So
yeah,
that interaction still needs to be discussed.
Okay,
and that's just for a name. We haven't discussed the custody schedule or the swaps or the events of the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, so I said that there are entities. So in database modeling, I call it entities like payments, households, co-parents, parents, and and what's that, swaps, events, and users. That's the main entities in this application, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know the relationship. I'm just looking at the DB design. What I'm curious is that the UI design is also important for use cases, but the more important is to know the relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather get understood about the database relationship between entities rather than UI. Yeah, of course, it's because the thing is that I would be working with the backend, right? Not the front end, not the application.
Yeah, you would be working on the back end. And this is I just made this up so that way you could see how on the front end this still needs to correlate to the back end.
Yeah, right. I see. Okay, I understand.
So payment screen, we did add in the ability just to on the initial screen. So let's say you don't have a case selected here. you'll be able to just have this initial screen here, and that would tell you on 30 days. In the last 30 days, you have $690 pending, and you've paid out $1,239. Maybe we'll have, and then if you click on 60, you'll see those numbers. 90, you'll see those numbers. I think this is just more of a filler thing, just to see like, all right, hey, I've got this much outstanding, and then if you do click on one of these down here, obviously you'll go right straight to the that request, and you'll get more information on it.
Mm-hmm.
We already went through rejected. So here is creating a payment request. We select a child, we select the category, we enter in the notes, we enter in the full amount, and then based on the category, it will adjust these percentages and the amount owed. So one of the things I told Max was when creating a new one, these percentages will not be known until you select that category. So technically this should read at that for the initial screen until you select the category. And then you can add in attachments. So let's create one here. It's a extracurricular, $300. You owe, it's 50%, so it's 150. Co-parent is 50% for 150. So the amount that is owed would be $150. So we need to clearly state like what they're asking for. And then you can add in receipts. If you click on it, if you haven't added a receipt in, it'll say, hey, are you sure you want to send this without a receipt, or otherwise you can attach one. So if you do add in a receipt like this, then you send the payment. And we'll have to update these to be the value of what we're actually asking for. So somewhere in here it should have said $150. And I can go through that. So there's two types of recurring payments. One where there are splits for payment, a 50-50 split, or whatever the reimbursement is for that. And then there are payments where there are no splits. It's just a direct request, full amount, saying, hey, you owe this amount, and those will be designated in when we create the categories. So I think Serge needs to do a mock-up of just a plain, simple, here's what it is when there are no splits. It's just a full amount. Here it is with a split. And then when you're sending a payment, you have the child, you have the details of the request that came in, and when you send the payment in, you have the ability to select which payment options you want to use, but PayPal will be the default for now. You enter in the amount, and then you put in some kind of a confirmation code if you want to, and then you can take a picture of the proof of payment submission.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. I don't think receipt makes sense on this one when you're doing doesn't make sense on that one. Okay. And then so here's one thing that we did create was the payment category splits agreement. So if I want to set up a new category, I can select the child, the item, enter the description amount, enter the full amount, and then enter the frequency of which these setups are going to be recurring. So if I wanted to put in $150 every month, here's what it would look like. So here's one recurring that's going to go out monthly for a cell phone bill for Ben, and here's one for Sarah. So you'd see all of these, and these are set up. But the category that we're talking about here are actually set up on the category screen. So we need this screen that shows us, here's a family support category. I'm always going to be responsible for 100% of that, and the co-parent will not be responsible for anything of it. The co-parent has already accepted the 100% to 0% for family support. So now if I get invited or sync accounts, I have to accept those terms, or I could suggest a revision of it. So if I accept that, yes, I will do 100% of this, then I accept it. Child support, 70-30 split, so I'll accept that. Maybe education, I'm questioning this, so I want to revise it. And then they'll have to come to an agreement, and then both accept it. So this screen will be part of when you invite a co-parent. When they create their account, one of the screens that they have to see is this one to say, yes, I agree to all of the category splits, and once they do, then we know that those category splits will be synced between the co-parents.
Okay.
Sorry, I have to go get in on another meeting, so
okay.
Yeah. Jump off.
All right, we're almost done. I'm just going to go through the custody schedule, and you are good with that, Laura?
Yep, I'm good with that.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Custody, the calendar, Serge has been doing really great with that, so I think we're there with the swaps and the proposals and then events. The other thing that we did add was the ability to create the custody schedule for the kids. And we have to see this complete here. So when you create a custody schedule, you have to give it a title, and this is all based off of Google Calendars. So I would create a custom. Let's say in this case, I want custody of the kids Monday through Friday, and then I'm gonna alternate it every single week, every other week. So I create custom weekdays. I get first custody, so the only options are going to be me or other co-parent. And then then I select the start date, so August 1st. So here's why it's showing August 1st, and then a start time, end time, and those are just pure time entries in the database. Custody schedule, I'm going to select for the weekdays, and then you have all these different options to do it. So if you have 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, I want to alternate weekly, I want to do this monthly, I want to do it all for a full week, or I can select custom. So in this case, all right, I just want to focus on the weekdays, and I want to repeat it every 2 weeks. And so if I look at it, I'll have them Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then if I click on view it, this is just the ability to sample what it would look like with these parameters. So here's what it would look like. My custody, I don't have custody here. I have custody here. Don't have custody. Does that any questions on that?
Yeah. So right now, so so let's start from the beginning. I'm sorry, but I don't know the purpose of the application. Just I guess that this is a kind of share payment between the parents and co-parents for the children. Is that right? And share household and share payments, and the parents and the co-parents agree on the certain payment for the children for education and
Yeah.
for
So
some other
this
stuff for the
this
children.
is primarily you know what a divorce is, right? Between families.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right. Yeah. No.
Yep. So in this case, these two parents who are divorced who share kids are setting up a custody schedule of when the mom gets the kid and when the dad gets a kid.
Yeah. Let's see.
So in this event, the mom is setting up uh, the custody schedule that says, all right, I get the kids every week, every other week. And I get them starting from Monday and end on Friday. And I'll pick them up on 8 a.m. on Friday. And I'll drop them off at 8 a.m. on pick them up on 8 a.m. on Monday and drop them off at 8 a.m. on Friday.
Okay.
But this could be all right 8 p.m. on. So the only thing we're selecting is here's the start time of the schedule. Here's the end time of the schedule.
Okay.
All right, and then from here I'm gonna select. All right, so maybe it's not weekdays. Maybe we're gonna split them every 2 days. We're gonna swap, or every 3 days, every 4 days.
Yeah.
Or maybe we're going to do it alternate an entire week, right?
Okay.
But then there's parents who do a custom one where none of these scenarios match because let's say they want to do, and I have it right here. Let's say they want to do one where I get them Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, but you get them Sunday, Wednesday, and Saturday. None of these. That's when a custom would need to be created because none of these work.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that. So I understand. These are details, right?
What's that?
I mean, yeah, these are details of the implementation.
Yeah.
Yes, but I want to know bigger things, like the relationship between the core main entities. Yes, the custody can contain start time, end time, and custom schedule. That does not matter. But I'm asking the custody and the parents' relationship and the bigger relationship and the purpose of the application. That's the thing. And after I study the specification and design files, and if I have any questions, I can ask you. Does that make sense?
I think you need to repeat that again.
Um, yeah. So I'm asking if you have any documentation about the application, like specifications or use cases or something like that. You can send it to me. Um, I will. You can send to me the design files, these wireframe design files, and I
Yep.
can study it. I can understand that. Yeah, looking at the custom schedule. This is for the custom schedule, and um, this is for the scheduling. Yeah. So after I study the documentations you have, I will have a bunch of questions for you. Does
Okay.
that work for you?
Okay, so I can share with you the wireframes that we've created. This what we're sharing right now. I
Mm-hmm.
do have a high level document that discusses what the app is and the main functionality.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as detailed specifications, this is what we have is within the wireframes.
Yep. So I understand. So I haven't even yet dive into coding here, but so I have to study the. This is very detailed, too detailed. So I had to study documentations first, and I'll have questions.
Yeah. All right. So keep in mind that the this this functionality right
Mhm.
here is pretty much based off of Gmail's calendar. When you create an event.
Okay.
So if I show you, so what I did was I created a Gmail event that says, all right, I get the kids every other weekend or every other weekday, and how I do that is I create new event. I title the event. I tell it when the start date of the event is, when it starts and ends, to time.
Yep.
And then I select the frequency of it. So I can say, all right, it happens daily. It happens every 7 days, starting Wednesday. It does it just weekly, Monday through Friday, and
Yeah.
nothing on the weekend. But then if I want to do a custom,
Yeah.
I can select how often it repeats and when it repeats, and then I can select the days that are affected by. So what you see for a Google Calendar event creation is pretty much the same here.
Yep. Okay.
So I can create a custom schedule for the weekdays, and here's the days that are affected. But I can also add in, all right, here's the schedule for a weekend. So these are the two different schedules that I created. But when you combine them all, this is a full effect and full calendar for between the parents. So by creating this one custom sequence for the weekdays and this one for the weekend, I see I have one set up, custom weekday, starts on the 1st, repeats every 2 weeks. It affects all the kids, so that's what this represents. Then there's another one that says custom weekend. It starts on August 13th, and it repeats every 2 weeks, and that's what these represent. So when I see these combined, this is the custody schedule.
Yep. Okay. I can understand.
And then, so this is an example of what if I set something up for, all right, just swap out every 4 days. All right, here's 4 days that I have the kids, and then I don't have the kids for 4 days. So the 4 day swap, it doesn't matter. Um, it doesn't matter what day it is. It just says, all right, 4 days are up. So now the kids are up 4 days, and here's how it looks, right, on the calendar.
Okay.
So file drawer is just ability to upload documents. We have 4 sections which are required. We'll have a template of here's all the agreements that we need uploaded into the app. And if you don't have it, it's just going to be a flag that says missing document, or if it was uploaded, here's when it was uploaded, and then the ability to review it if I click on them. And then here's the ones that I have manually uploaded, and it could be any type of document. And then if I want to flag it as a private document during the upload, we know that it cannot be shared with anyone. If I view all, it's going to list here's all the required documents, here's all the upload documents, here's all your purchase documents. So we did create templates, which are documents that you can purchase. And what it would do is just give you the summary of the document and then the price of the document. And when you buy it, it gets added into your purchase documents, which are in the view all purchased.
Yes.
So then if you go ahead and buy it, then you get the option to customize the agreement. You can sign it digitally, that agreement, save it to your system, and then if you want to share it with your co-parent, you can invite the co-parent to review it, sign it, and then therefore it is a legally binding agreement.
Okay.
Okay. And then this is a CMS, almost a web view side. Lawyers are able to register on the web only, not on the mobile.
Yep.
And we ask that they enter in their name, confirm the email, and then from there, and then household or co-parents, your parents can register through here as well, or they could register on the mobile app. We figure that parents may would rather do the web for registering because it may be more convenient, especially for document uploads and the scheduling and everything. So registration through the web, and then we're gonna. This is phase 2, is defining what the lawyers can actually do once they log in. So that's it. Do we have any? Do you have any questions?
Yeah. So please send me the documentations that I need to study. I'll revise them. I will let you know the questions, and we can schedule, if possible, some other meeting, and I will have a bunch of questions for you to get started. Okay. That is number one.
Okay.
And number two is we can make a InVision or any other Adobe link to make the flow of the application, like markups. You know InVision, right?
Yeah, I know Envision, but Serge was using Figma.
Yeah, Figma is also possible.
So I'm gonna rely on Serge and you to do, the mock-ups and stuff. The only thing I created the wireframes for is just to show you here's what here's kind of the concept of it, and then I'm looking for you as a developer to look at here's what we can and can't do based on the wireframes, or have additional questions on why feedback on the wireframes. But then I'm looking for Serge to come through and put his design experience into the wireframes and tell us, here we don't recommend doing this layout, but here's a good layout that we could use.
Okay. Okay, so for now, yeah, I understand the main idea of what's going on and what needs to be done now. But though I have to study a bit more.
Yeah. Okay, and then so I don't know where are you located?
I'm located in Liverpool, UK.
In the UK.
Yeah.
Okay, so Max is pretty up to speed on all this. I just talked to him last night about all the custody schedule, and he gets it. So I don't know if you could talk to him about it.
Okay, I can do that too. I can ask Max about it.
We can schedule a call with you, Roy, and Max.
Yep.
Okay, and then maybe we could go through the DB schema with all of us.
Yes.
All right. Does Serge have any questions?
Сергій, ще в тебе якісь запитання?
No.
Нет, никаких. Not for now.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll stop the recording and then I will send this over to you.
Yeah. Okay. That'll be great. Stop recording maybe on the quick time. Right click.
Is it?
I mean, the quick time. Right
Yeah.
click. Yeah. Stop